Hey everybody.
Sean and Kelly here, Price and Price Group of Samson Properties, and what are we talking about?
Today we're tackling one of the most important aspects of the home buying process, and that is choosing the right lender.
That's right, here we go. Okay, so you're a new buyer, you're sitting there, you're trying to decide, begin the process, and you're trying to decide, do I need a lender? And you're looking at all the information, you're comparing all the stuff you can find online, but you don't really know what's important. But what you do need to know is the lender that you choose is important because sellers look at your lender. They want to know that you've got a solid lender that has a good closing reputation, which we're going to dive into. So there's a lot of factors to consider.
Yeah, it can make or break the deal, right?
Absolutely.
Or even stand in the way of getting your seller to even look at the offer.
That's right.
Without a pre-approval. So yes, rates are very, very important. But I mean, really rates are what they are for you, your credit score and everything else. The lender, we're going to go through 5 things that you really want to look at because, I mean, most often they're going to go to bat and give you very similar rates.
Absolutely. The first thing you want to look at, and one of the biggest comparisons you're going to face, is looking at a local lender versus a national lender.
It's huge.
It's huge.
Yeah.
We've worked with some fantastic national lenders, so this is not to discredit all national lenders. We've worked with some horrible national lenders that we have had to fight tooth and nail simply to get our buyers to closing because
it's a big deal when we find one that is good to work with.
Absolutely, yeah. And we actually hang on to that information just in case we end up with that lender again.
Like if you're with this bank, can you at least try to find this guy to work with?
That's right, that's right. Because the thing is, like, I'll just give you an example. We have a lender that one of our buyers was looking at, and that lender called me the other day and they said, so what are the closing costs in Virginia? They didn't know how to work up a loan estimate for Virginia because they don't work in this market.
Right.
If they're not known to the listing agent, if they're not responsive, well, we'll get into all that. But there's just a lot of factors, national versus local. Yeah. Your local lenders have reputations.
Yeah.
Your local lenders are, we've got local lenders that we work with that we know we can depend on. And when you get a national lender, it's hard telling what you're going to get.
And on that point, when I submit offers on behalf of our buyers, if I'm working with one of the lenders that we know are going to be really great, I actually copy them on that initial email to the seller's agent when I'm presenting the offer so that I can give the intro. Then that loan officer is going to immediately respond and reach out. So the seller's agent and then the seller, they're like, wow, okay, they're really on top of things.
That's right.
Especially when for our buyers, you guys, I mean, a lot of times we're writing offers after work. So this is late at night, it's on weekends, and if you're working with not the right lender, we're not going to be able to get in touch. But we're going to get into that.
Yeah.
So another thing is the fiduciary duty. Like, what is that? That means that we are agents for you, right? Your fiduciary has to, by law, act in the best interest of you and not their company, not their bottom line, not the commissions they make. So as real estate agents, we are fiduciaries, but loan officers, I'm also a loan officer. They are not, right? They're not, they don't owe you a fiduciary responsibility at all. And that's one of the reasons I got my license, is so that I can act as a fiduciary for you with all the knowledge to come to you and say, hey, compare apples to apples. And I can look at your different loan estimates, explain it all to you so that you know you're getting me with how I have to act for you. Kind of deciphering everything that you're getting to make a really good
And to be
decision.
very clear, she does not write loans.
I don't.
So she is not going to be giving you information with the intent of possibly making a commission. Kelly,
I do all this hard work and maintain this license.
That's right. She keeps this license so she can stay up to date with what's going on in the industry, because as real estate agents, like she said, we have to look out for your best interest. The lender does not. Now, a reputable lender will, because they know that their business depends on realtors like us providing them the business.
Yes.
But if it's a nationwide lender, they don't really know anybody in the market. All they're doing is looking at another transaction. They're probably on salary. It doesn't matter to them. If you don't go to closing and you lose your earnest money deposit, they don't have any liability in that.
They don't even look at that part of the contract.
Yeah, they don't even know what deadlines are. Right? So it's really important. Number one, that fiduciary is really important. Number two, knowing that she keeps her license so she knows how to decipher all this information objectively for you.
And I know how to talk to your loan officer. So let's say you're going with someone for whatever reason that is not someone we've worked with. They're out of the state and everything else. I know how to ask them. I know what to ask them. I know how to really not get their sales pitch and then be able to give it to you straight what's
Yep.
going on. And sometimes it's a great thing. Sometimes I'm like,
she just had an example today. She was looking at 2 different loan estimates from 2 different lenders, and one lender looked more expensive because they had actually mentioned the actual loan costs, like the, what was it, the
well, and they had the VA funding fee on it. So I had to ask them, okay, do you have an exemption for the VA funding fee? Because if you do, all of the loan officers, they need to know this so that we're comparing apples to apples, because one of them has this like huge funding fee on it and the other one doesn't. But it was
so
lot.
But she can decipher that, and she can find these differences. It's not just about the interest rate, which
I got the brains.
You got the brains, which I want to dive into interest rate versus APR.
Yes.
Okay.
That's
so
important.
you're going to see.
This is number 3.
This is number 3.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're looking for a lender, especially if you go online, you're going to see all these tables, and this company offers this interest rate, and this company offers this interest rate. You'll get a flyer in the mail when the interest rates are 7%. They can offer you 5.5%.
Yeah.
So interest rate is a part of the story, but what you really, really want to look at is you want to look at the annual percentage rate.
It's the part of the story that gets all the glory and all the attention.
That's exactly right. But it's not the part of the story that tells you how much you're actually paying.
Right.
Because the APR, the annual percentage rate, is taking your interest rate plus all of the loan costs and putting it into a number so you know what you're averaging out over the life of the loan.
That's true.
So that APR is the most important number, because you might get a 5.5 interest rate, but the APR might be 7.9 because they charge you $300,000 to get that rate or something.
Right.
So it's really important to understand what that APR is. And again, this is where she comes in, because she can look at all these fees, what's included in the APR, what's not included in the APR.
Yeah.
We can calculate your loss based your risk versus loss. What's the best loan to go with based on how long you're going to be staying in the home.
Yeah. And just break it down for you. Certainly not tell you what you should do or anything. And we never get kickbacks. Like that's a big like legal no-no. So you don't ever have to worry about your real estate agent and whatever lender you go with kind of what's
being in cahoots.
Cahoots.
That's right. And God give you a little something if you give me a good word.
Yeah, you're not allowed to do that.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
I mean, if there's like some sort of interest in the company, that's disclosed in all the disclosures. But we're getting off topic here.
Okay.
Next
is, we mentioned this a little bit earlier, but
and it's so huge. It's so worth going into more. It's the communication and availability.
This is huge.
It's really huge.
It's worth about at least 0.75 points on an interest rate. I'm giving it a number. It could be worth whatever.
I don't know. It
but
depends. Not if it's like a 2% interest
that's
rate,
true.
but if it's 20, then maybe.
That's fair.
Okay, so we did go over it. We're gonna repeat ourselves here.
So important.
We've had buyers when it was a competitive market, and on some properties it's still very competitive.
Yep.
They have lost offers that were really good. Like their offer price would have beat all of the other offers. Everything would have been great, but the loan officer, they work 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. We're putting the offer together Saturday or Friday
morning,
night, and we can't get the pre-approval letter. So that's what we're saying.
Or the seller's agent has a deadline, and the seller's agent can't get in touch with the lender to find out.
They're like, well, I don't know. I don't really trust this one. I trust this well-known local lender that we talk to all the time more than this.
Yep.
So we've lost. We've had clients who have lost getting their offers even looked at. We've had clients lose out, again, because you said that they couldn't reach them, right? Even if we had the pre-approval. We've also had a near miss with a buyer losing their EMD because, again, the communication, we felt kind of ghosted at this one point because we're like, we're getting down to the wire. And this was even during office hours. This was during the week, because I remember it was several days went on and there was a contingency, a deadline that had to be met or they would lose their EMD, and it was all lender dependent, right? And they would say, I remember them saying, oh, that's up to underwriting, so I'll message them and see what's going on. And then it was days before I heard back. No. The ones, we need to be able to reach them via text. You need to be able to reach them via text. Hours, days.
If you cannot text a lender, you need to run. Plain and simple. If they don't have a private cell phone.
Remember this one that was like an 888 number, and then the extension was, I counted it, it was 7 digits was the extension. And I'm like.
A great example of this is the example Kelly just gave, but then we had another one. This was a lender. It was a national bank, well-known bank. they've kind of corrected this at this point with the last 2 lenders we've been forced to work with.
Yeah, they've been pretty decent.
Yeah, the buyer we were supposed to close on a Monday. There was something that I can't remember what the detail was, but there was something that had to be handled before settlement on Monday. And it was like Monday morning at 10 o'clock that we were settling. We brought it to their attention on Wednesday. The loan officer wasn't doing it, so we escalated it.
This is the one that I mentioned at the beginning of the whole thing. I said, hey, I want it on your processor and underwriter's radar that whatever this was, so that they could get ahead of it. Again, knowing that they're going to need to get ahead of it.
And they didn't. And we had it escalated up to the point where we were about to talk to the right person to get it fixed, and Friday at 5 p.m. came along, and they were gone. Didn't have them Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, Monday at 9 o'clock. Luckily, the seller was willing to extend settlement a little bit so we could finish this up. But as far as that lender was concerned, if that seller had not moved, that buyer would have completely lost their
and if it had been, I think there was like, if it had been another 24 or 48 hours, then the seller was not going to be as amicable because they were due another mortgage payment if they did. It was something. It was shit that they don't think about.
This is really, really freaking important.
They're like not paid to think about it. I think they get hourly, and it's not You do want a commission based.
Yes, you do.
Loan officer, I think.
So I think so too. Yeah. So what you want to do whenever you're talking to, and this is the trick that we use. Whenever a buyer introduces us to a new lender, I always make my first introductory call or text after 5 p.m. or on a weekend. Because if I can't get them for that, they're not going to be available for the rest of it.
Right.
So that's the way you can do this, is always make sure that they're going to be available.
And if you don't have one of these, I'm not putting them in the contact on the offer letter. I kind of like skate by it, like, here's the lackluster pre-approval.
That's right. That's right. Hopefully they won't call.
Right.
Because we don't get to ultimately choose the lender. It's always the buyer that makes the final decision. It's always you.
And okay, I hate this about being a loan officer. When I was doing it, you are supposed to shop around.
Yes, we'll get into that. We're going to get into that. Okay. Closing performance.
Oh,
okay.
Are we not there yet?
Yeah. No, we're at the closing performance now.
Oh.
Yeah.
Can I skip ahead with my
you skip ahead. Yep.
My big writing?
Okay. So we will talk about shopping around in a second.
Sorry.
Closing performance. Okay. This is really important. And I got a great example of this. We had a buyer. She got a full pre-approval from a VA lender. It was going to be a 15-day close, which is unheard of for VA. This was in DC. This was in DC. This was the one you'll remember. She had this full pre-approval. We went under contract with a 15-day settlement, again, which is unheard of on a VA loan, but this lender said he could do it. We drilled him and he said he could do it. She decided on day 1 of being ratified on the contract to shop around and found another lender that beat him by 0.25%. And we drilled that lender, and he swore up and down he could meet the settlement date. They missed the settlement date by what, 3 days? 3 or 4 days? Luckily, again, the seller...
And not only that, but the seller's agent was such a...
Yes, yeah. You get a good friendly agent.
You can't control that.
Luckily, the seller...
That's why we put on pretty faces.
That's right. Well, you put on a pretty face.
Well, put on a pretty voice when I have to.
So luckily, the seller, again, was fortunate enough to be willing to push it back for 2 days so that we got to the point, I think it was 2 or 3 days, to where we did go to settlement. But if they hadn't settled on that day, they were not going to settle. And it was all... And they had no fiduciary responsibility. They expressed no remorse. They said, we did our best. This is what we thought we could do. And that put that buyer's $30,000 at risk. And there was nothing that could be done about it except for pray that the seller would be amicable.
It was terrible. And one of the things you're going to run into, a bad lender, and you're not going to know this until you've chosen them, which is shitty. But a bad lender is going to, once you're under contract and you have signed the commitment or whatever it is,
or the appraisal and all that,
and you've paid for the appraisal, then their excuse is going to be, oh, let me put you through to my processor. And then you don't even really hear from them again, right? A good one is going to, even though their processor is the liaison between you and the underwriting department, the loan officers really don't have a whole lot to do with underwriting. They try to keep that a little bit separate. But a good loan officer is going to be in the bullpen with all of them and right there communicating with you every step of the way.
And us.
And willing to answer any question you have, however many times you have it. And that's the other thing that I'm here for, is if you feel like you're asking your loan officer ever anything too many times, ask me, You can ask me as many times as you
Yeah.
want. I'll film a video and like just send it to you.
That's
again.
right. That's right. That's right. So closing performance is important. So the three main important things.
There are 5 main important things.
The 5, yeah.
All
Thank you.
5.
So number 1, local versus national. There are some national lenders that are good. Not all are bad, but just need to make sure that you have a realtor that knows how to sort them out.
It's an automatic bad taste in the seller's agent's mouth.
We have to actually sell that national lender to the seller's agent. Number 2, fiduciary. Just remember that they are not a fiduciary, that they do not have, they have to deal with you honestly, but they can spend things in ways that you may not recognize.
Yeah.
Number 3, APR is the most important versus just the interest rate. Number 4, making sure they're communicative and accessible outside of office hours. Number 5, that they can close.
Yes.
And number 6, yes, as Kelly said when she skipped so really ahead.
Well, it was a bonus. I thought we were at the bonus time.
Yes. You should shop your lenders. And I know lenders are going to hate us for saying that. We always provide at least 2 lenders to our clients that we have preferred lenders with.
Yeah.
Because our job as a fiduciary is to make sure that you are the most protected and getting the best possible opportunity.
And why too? We always like giving at least 3 of any recommendation. Yeah. But number 3 was amazing.
Until she wasn't.
Yep. And so that's the other thing is it's like we
stay on top of our vendors.
And when we get a third that's worth giving to people, you guys who we care about, then we'll have 3 again.
That's right.
But right now,
that's right.
Now it's 2.
So remember when you're shopping your lenders, the APR is the most important factor. You need to have a loan estimate, but you need to do it within 1 day of getting your ratified contract, so you're not delaying deadlines, and you want to go back and forth and see what you can get. Let Kelly review it, make sure you're in the most protected place.
And we could do a whole video on how this aspect works, and maybe we should.
Yeah.
But please talk to me, talk to your agent, talk to someone who can explain why they're asking for what they're asking for before they give you what you need to give it to the other one and all of this. Like they're not out to get you. They're not trying to strong arm you. There are reasons for what they're asking for.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
All right. If you're thinking about buying and you have questions about the lending process, reach out to us. Our work number is
703-783-2143.
That's right. Or you can DM us, or you can message us on whatever platform you're on. But yeah, reach out to us. We'll be happy to chat with you. Okay. We got to get going, so we got to get to an open house.
Yes.
So we'll see you guys later.
Bye.